What were the findings of the Broken Blue Line report?
So what we were looking for was are these incidents isolated, or do they indicate a pattern of behavior? And our main finding was that it indicates, unfortunately, a pattern of behavior, which we think means that criminal elements have infiltrated the police, whether it's a criminal who started as a criminal and then came into the police service, or whether it's someone who was in the police service and then turned to criminal activity. We don't have information on that, but we do feel that there's just too much of a criminal element there. And that was really our main finding, and that was our main worry. I do have to emphasize, however, that we're not at all saying that it's all police officers at all. We have wonderful policemen and women out there doing a great job, but we feel that even a limited number of people committing these sorts of crimes must be difficult for those police officers, for morale, for feeling, feeling pride about your job. And that's why we feel it must be sorted out.
And you've also juxtaposed this year's research to the one that you did in 2011 and found that there's very little change or decrease in the way that police officers conduct themselves, again, some of them, and that those who are involved in criminal activity have not dropped as you would have liked to see.
No, it hasn't. Both reports we don't look at corruption, for example, which is maybe what most South Africans experience, being pulled over and so forth. We actually looked at the planning and execution of serious crimes like armed robberies, hijackings, murder and rape. And we did the same in the 2011 report as we did in the report that was released yesterday. And we haven't seen much of a change at all. The SABC itself has made some efforts, definitely, but we just feel the effort isn't enough. We feel there are still police officers that are going through disciplinary action, but who are still on duty. We also gathered information from IPID, which is the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, and they, for example, had about 9,000 cases and only 218 led to convictions or disciplinary action. And we just feel that it's not helping the South African public, and we're talking about each and every South African, whether you're middle class, whether you're poor. In fact, I would argue poor people suffer the most, because you don't know whether this police officer who is supposed to help you, whether you can trust him or her or not.
Police officers have lamented your findings, saying that you did not involve them in your research and that the findings therefore cannot be accurate, and that they would be willing to work with you to make sure that you do find accurate statistics on police officers who are involved in serious crimes. Did you involve the officers?
We did. We attempted to. Last year, when we were planning the research, we did get in touch with them numerous times by email, by phone, and we didn't receive any reply. And we want to work with them. In fact, we've had indication from the police union that they'd like to work with us. And this is what it's about. It's not malicious criticism, it's constructive criticism. And we work with any political organization, any state organization. And they didn't get back to us. And then when they heard the report was being published, that's when they came forward and said they weren't happy with it.
You spoke about malice. AfriForum and the connection to this particular research, because some would point a finger and say this is just to tarnish the image of the police officers by AfriForum using your institution.
Well, we are an independent institution, but we do need money to carry out very important research. And literally, I think you can talk to people who are not affiliated to AfriForum in any way, and they will also tell you of experiences they have of possible fear that they feel when they see a blue light in the back window of their cars. And AfriForum purely funded the reports. We will take funding from anybody, but we have a very, very strong editorial policy, and that is, if you are happy to give us money to carry out important research, you have no say in what the outcome of that research is. And AfriForum themselves only saw the report for the first time on Monday. It was already published, it was already finalized, and they had absolutely no say.
Okay, we have to leave it there, I'm afraid, but just a yes or a no from you that this research was conducted looking at what the media had published on issues of crime perpetrated by police officers.
Yes, and one last point on the point of that, the police saying that can't be trusted, then you're really, insulting the media who do hard work to report this.
All right, so just looking at the media, newspapers, etc., and what we had reported is how you conducted your research and where you found your findings. All right, we'll have to leave it there for now, possibly opening up a can of worms that will need to be looked at closer when we have more